Austin Wenzloff. The Vice President of Business Development at OnApproach. And OnApproach is a CUSO, or was a CUSO. We were actually acquired by Trellance recently, which is another CUSO co-op structure, formerly CSCU. Has about 2,400 credit union members that are a part of that co-op structure. So as I mentioned, I'm originally from OnApproach, spent about 5 years there as the VP of Business Development. And then with the acquisition now, we've all joined the Trellance team, which we're very excited about. I'll be presenting a little bit today, but the star of the show is going to be Foster Kelly, who will be showcasing the CU RateReset offering as well. So Foster, I'll let you introduce yourself here quickly.
Fantastic. Thank you, Austin. Again, this is Foster Kelly. I'm the Manager of Client Success at CU RateReset. I want to do a quick shout out to the OnApproach folks on the congratulations on the acquisition with Trellance. Super exciting stuff over there. And it's always exciting to see things like that and furthering the connection between all of the vendors out there and creating platforms that are just cutting edge. So very exciting to be hosting this joint webinar today with those folks. My background quickly on the rate reset side of the house. I am the primarily sales person for the entire CUSO. I handle all the demonstrations that happen on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, things of that nature. But then a big bulk of my job also includes the what we call success meetings, whether they happen monthly or quarterly with current clients. When you are brought up on board on the Knock Knock platform that you're going to see here today, a lot of the products are relatively new to the marketplace. Sure, we have acquisition and pre-approval products out there that folks are using, but the working of the platform is new, and we don't want to have kind of a learning curve for all credit unions that join it. We want them to come off strong and profitable on the platform, and a big bulk of my time is spent on making sure that new clients are successful, and that's another big part of my duties here at the CUSO. And so with today's presentation, I'll be showing the demonstration of the Knock Knock platform and how it pairs with the incredibly powerful M360 data analytic platform. So thanks so much.
All right, thanks, Foster. And as I mentioned, Foster will be the star of the show today, but I did just want to start off by explaining a little bit about why these two companies are talking together. So you guys might know who OnApproach is, you might know who CU RateReset is, but how do we come together and why are we working together? So let me start off by just kind of quickly explaining what we refer to as the collaborative analytics approach. So really something new and unique that we're bringing to the credit union space that we started off, down the path of developing roughly, 8 years ago. Really kind of cemented our focus as a CUSO in 2014. So probably about 5+ years that we've been really kind of working on this. But I'll get through this, and you'll kind of start to understand a little bit more about why and how CU RateReset and OnApproach fit together. So, the first piece of our offering, if my slide will advance here, is is actually not our offering. It's your guys' sources themselves. So when I say you guys, I mean the credit unions out there. Typically what we encounter when we get into a credit union is that they have a variety of different source systems, and typically those are scattered throughout the credit union. And what I mean by that is they're kind of in their own disparate data silos, or they live in their own department. They live within their own definitions, within their own calculations. So there's a lot of different disparate ways of looking at these data sources. And you have your core system, your LOS, your credit card, your debit card, online, mobile banking, all of these different systems that are kind of within the credit union. So what our primary goal to start with is to come in, take all of that data and integrate that data into one single source of truth, is what people like to refer to it as. So you go from having multiple different records, multiple different databases, multiple different ways for looking for the same answer to your question, going from having that concept or that structure down to having just one spot to get all of your questions answered, which is what we call the M360 data model. So the example I always use is think about members. So a member might show up 10 times in your source systems. After we're done integrating that data, you're going to go from having 10 records, 10 different ways of viewing it, and each record having its own small subset of the data, down to having just one member record for each unique member. And then within that, we want to be able to collect every single transaction, every single behavior and activity that's occurring within that member's life, so that we can start to look at that on more of a holistic 360 view of what's going on. So not only just the members, but we're also interested in doing that to branches, to employees, to your portfolios, so you can analyze the risk within your portfolios, and truly just the enterprise as a whole. So, what I just got done explaining is essentially an enterprise-wide data warehouse. OnApproach, we do have a patent on our solution in how we integrate data specifically for the credit union. But that's really not what makes us unique and not what I'm here to talk about today. So there's a lot of companies out there that can do data integration. We've never claimed that we're doing it any sort of new or revolutionary way of integrating data. We're actually using very traditional methodologies to get there. However, what makes OnApproach unique is that we took it one step further. And instead of integrating data at an individual credit union level, we wanted to integrate it at an industry level. So what I mean by that is, regardless of what core and what ancillary systems each of our clients is working with, by the time we get done integrating their data, it's going to look the same across our entire client base. So why do that? Why go through the painstaking effort of trying to conform every single data definition from every single system into one common database and data model and data definition? Well, it enables and facilitates something extremely powerful, which we refer to as collaborative analytics. So basically the whole industry coming together and collaborating as one. So what you're seeing on the right-hand side of the screen is now what we refer to as the collaborative analytics ecosystem. And essentially it's an interconnected web of all credit unions working together on one common platform toward one common goal, which is being more effective with our data, providing a more exceptional member experience. So the analogy I always use is because it hits everybody pretty close to home, is the iPhone. So, think about the iPhone that you have right now. Everybody that has an iPhone has the same operating system, which is that Apple iOS. And as a result of that, we all have equal access to all of the same products and services or applications that exist within that Apple ecosystem. We basically wanted to replicate that approach, but to data and analytics in the credit union space. So build one clean, consistent platform that's universally accepted across the industry, and then we can work together on that platform instead of a whole bunch of individuals. And the reason we developed that was because we first got in the credit union space back in 2010, and what we started encountering as we started working with each individual credit union is that there's a ton of reinvention of the wheel taking place, because we're all trying to do very similar things and what we're trying to analyze and how we're trying to increase our business. So we end up going through the path of doing data integration on our own, and then we go to doing report development, dashboards, getting into forecasting modeling, getting into predictive modeling, machine learning, artificial intelligence is fast around the corner here. That whole process there becomes the individual burden of just one credit union, and each other credit union out there has to figure out how to do it on their own as well. So we looked at that and said that is a tremendous waste of time, energy, and resources. If we can build one clean, consistent platform, we can now develop something once, make that accessible to the entire industry, and then move on to the next thing, so that we can really start to gain efficiencies as a collective whole. And there's two key pieces of it. I won't get into those into a terrible amount of detail, just because it's not really an OnApproach sales demo here. It's more of a presentation around our ecosystem. But one of the key elements of that shared collaborative environment is what we call the App Store. And this is where CU RateReset fits in. So we do have a few different avenues of having apps developed, one of which is OnApproach and Trellance. So the OnApproach Trellance team will be developing stuff and have been developing stuff either per request from our clients or based off of ideas that we come up with that we know to be beneficial for the industry. The other development resource, and the one that gets me the most excited, is our credit union network themselves. So our clients have really good ideas. They have really good resources. They're going to have to develop stuff just out of necessity to begin with. So why not take that and contribute that to the overall ecosystem for other credit unions to benefit from it? And then, again, another more powerful resource that we have is our partner network. So we have a variety of different partners that are contributing to the App Store. And one of the things that they have, and Foster could probably speak to this later on, is is one of their challenges is getting good, clean, consistent data from a credit union, and then having to do that at every credit union, because each credit union does it a little bit differently, and they have to worry about how do you get that data, and then how do you maintain that process on an ongoing basis. We eliminate that process because it's a clean, common data model for our entire client base. So we opened up our API to CU RateReset. We allowed the data to be connected to their application, and then we've enabled that to be automated so that we can just continue to run that on an ongoing basis. And then there's one other piece to our product. I won't really dive into it. It's really the data lake environment. We see our partners contributing to that right now, but that's something coming in a little bit in the future. But with that, I want to turn it over to Foster. So really what I wanted to show you guys is not the fact that we developed a data integration platform, but the fact that we've developed an open, industry agnostic data platform for all credit unions to benefit from and all providers to contribute to, including our partners like CU RateReset, who have been a great partner to work with for a while. So Foster, with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, provide you with the controls so that you can share yours.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Austin. And I'll gather those controls from you right now to show my presentation here of the action behind that clean data that you just mentioned. So let me see and get that over. All right. So hopefully my screen pulled up in front of everyone on the presentation here today on the webinar. Again, thank you, Austin, for that introduction on the connection between OnApproach and CU RateReset. Just to recap, the biggest connection piece and the easiest at least for me to understand, I think when it all came into picture was when I was at the AXFI conference last year and I saw all these great conversations about big data and making it so that it's legible and useful and you can use it as a better targeting position for your members. And it was great. I mean, it's fantastic to see that ecosystem that OnApproach has created here. And then where I had a light bulb moment is, oh my gosh, knock knock is the action behind the data. And so this actionable item is what I'm going to take you through here today. And so let me click on the presentation here and really go into, just at a very high level, the individual solutions that your members could go through on a daily basis as far as individual digital offers that you want to position in front of them. And again, all of this starts with data. I mean, it really does. And hence why we had Austin go first here and talk about that clean data aspect that OnApproach does so well, and passing that into a solution like Knock Knock, where it takes it and concisely and real time and triggers will allow you to be more effective with your digital offers, whether that may be on the left-hand side, which are reset solutions. We have actually current clients that use OnApproach to pull the reset files and the different data points needed in a clean fashion to allow members, for example, to do a reset auto transaction, which is allowing them to do a term extension on their auto loan to free up some monthly cash flow. Reset personal loan, which allows folks that have personal loans with you to do a extension on that as well, but then also replenish it. Reset CD. I've had so many conversations in the last, geez Louise, I think since halfway through 2018 with where rates are going right now and credit unions hungry for deposits. Reset CD allows for those folks that have deposits with you currently, whether it's a share certificate or something along that nature, if it's coming to renewal, instead of doing just a boring regulatory item that goes out, why not give them the option to renew it digitally with adding additional funds to that existing CD, and then also doing the renewal term. Reset credit card, which allows folks to do a balance transfer or a credit limit increase promotion. Again, fully digital. I think the last campaign that we just had the other month, a credit union brought in a little under, actually it was actually a little over $500,000 in new balance transfers on those existing cards. Great way to reinvigorate those cards. And then lastly, the Reset product there. Reset Mortgage is our pioneer product. We've been around since 2008, almost same around time as OnApproach here, and that was really our pioneer product that we started with, is Reset Mortgage, which allows members that have ARM portfolio mortgages with you to reset their rate at the click of a button. A really awesome additional feature on this too is if you have in a rate rising market that we're in and the fluctuations of it, if you're originating new ARMs, to put that feature on there and can kind of set you apart and different from the rest of the credit unions in your area. So again, just to recap, anything with reset in front of it is focused on retention. And on the flip side of the house, we have pre-approval or acquisition products, whether that's digital pre-screen or pre-qual or pre-approvals like credit cards, auto recapture, personal loans, and CDs. And then what I want to go over for today's conversation, and obviously if I went over each and every one of these solutions, your all's heads would be spinning, especially after going over the big data standpoint of it and how that all works. So what I really want to focus on is how we have created, with the partnership of OnApproach, is creating a mirror member, which can be, you know, maybe one of those indirect members that you have from one of those auto loans that really only has that one product with you and may not even know that they're a member of your credit union, and create them into a sincere member. I had a statistic and a study done that showed me, I believe it was 7% of those mere members or indirect members that you may have on your portfolio have multiple products with you. And I thought that was pretty low. And obviously conversations that we've had personally with other credit unions is really finding that unicorn product out there, or that unicorn process, as it's been referred to as another credit union that I talked to, and trying to figure out how to create those multiple relationships. And again, if you scroll through the data that OnApproach can produce for you and really pinpoint those folks that would be more likely to open up a credit card with you, or another auto loan with you, or a personal loan, you would have better targeting efforts towards that. Austin, is that correct on kind of what I'm explaining there as far as the data side of it? And then I'll show shortly the experience side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the one way that I've always described us, just to make it a little bit more simplistic, is that we are the analytics engine. So some of those things that we output are things like, what is the next best product? So being able to understand what members are in the market for a credit card, instead of just saying, hey, you know, March is our credit card month and everybody's going to get a credit card, we can actually run some predictive models within the M360 engine to show what members actually qualify for that, and it makes the most sense for them based off of their past conversations and their past transactions and behaviors with us. How you execute on that, how you fulfill that offer is what you're probably going to talk about here in a second. But yes, you're absolutely right.
Oh man, that just gets me so excited. That's awesome. So yeah, absolutely. From the data side, it can get really targeted, and then from the offer side that I'm about to show you here, it can also get exciting from the experience that the member's going to go through. And so what I always want to show first with the current case study that we've had is you introduce your members and these mere members with a reset auto offer. Okay, you get them kind of their feet wet on a digital experience that's very seamless. It's very interactive. It's easy. They're done in, I mean, if I wasn't going to be talking the whole time, in a matter of, you know, less than a minute. So I'll start there, and then I will show how that can then go over to, like Austin said, we've seen the greatest success of these mere members or indirect members, or these members that only have one product with you, open up a credit card then, and the extremely high success rates of doing that. So one quick thing I do want to point out here, but I won't go into it today, is I like to break up Knock Knock into two different items. There's non-member Knock Knock, and then there's member Knock Knock. For today's conversation, we will only be talking about member Knock Knock, okay? But I would like to point out that we do have a 90-second onboarding process for non-members. If you're looking to grow CDs or deposits in your field of membership, and you do a social media campaign or something out to those folks, we can digitally onboard them and fund that CD real time. Now, like Austin was saying up front, and the big data behind it, the very first step in creating a digital offer is using that data and the Excel spreadsheets necessary and the different data points needed to create a reset auto offer for those MIR members to try to introduce them to this really cutting edge and unique member experience. And so that happens with one of the spreadsheets that has the individual data points needed to create the reset auto offer. It is then uploaded securely by you all as the credit union into what we call the RateReset production site. Basically attach the file, click the word process. It then takes every single one of those data points and encrypts it into 2 new columns. Those 2 new columns are what we call the personal URLs, PEARLs, which is the longer one, the bigger one here that looks like a link, and then the MEO codes, the member exclusive offer codes. This is what marketing is going to use to actually engage the members into the offer. They will either click on the link or they will use the MEO code. The links can be embedded into emails or text messages sent out to the members. These also can be put behind online banking, and it can have that real-time daily data field where the offers are sit and eligible for them to take advantage of 24/7 if they qualify. And again, the best practices that we have to share with you from a credit union standpoint of creating these files is quite a bit. And we'll walk you through the parameters needed to justify who should be eligible for one of these offers, and then so on and so forth. Now, the link is pretty self-explanatory on how that's embedded into an email or a text message, or you see a widget behind online banking. But I do always like to show the visual experience of using a MEO code. Let's say, for example, I'm not comfortable clicking a link in an email, but I am comfortable and I'm educated on using that member exclusive offer code at 6 or 7 digits. And I'm instructed to come back to your main website. For example, here down in the bottom right is one of our clients where I click on the MEO code button, I enter the code, and then I get into the offer. It's just another delivery channel on getting some of those folks that may not be comfortable with that link into the offer and having that higher acceptance percentages because of that comfortability. On the next screen here are just some of those visuals on how the offers can be portrayed. You have mobile banking or online banking over here. You have the emails that could be get started, you click the link or that PEARL to get into the reset auto offer, or you have the email or the text message. I read an article the other day that, and I'll butcher this, saying this word, but it was a multi-platformification is the verbiage that they use, and I'm pretty happy I got that out in one saying, which basically the idea was behind having multiple channels of your members getting into just one particular offer, right? And so they can either get it through online banking, the PEARL in the email, or the MEO code. If they click the PEARL or the MEO code in the email or the text, they're going to have to authenticate who they are to get into the offer for security purposes. Now, one very important thing I want to point out here on this screen here of the Knock Knock Offers page is to show you all and tell you that you will never see this much going on in your offers page when a member accesses it. For demo purposes, I have this shown up to really just drive discussion and conversation about other products that folks are interested in. But for example, for today's conversation, let's say we're doing that campaign of creating MIR members into sincere members, they'll definitely see the Reset Auto Loan product here if they have an auto loan with you and they're made eligible. And then they'll also see the pre-approval credit card offer here in the bright green. At the end of the presentation, I'll talk about the create offers and the power behind that as well. But let's go through the Reset Auto here and how we kind of start the conversation with those members that may not really know that they are a member. So if one of the auto loans has gap associated with it, there is a gap disclosure that can pop up, and the system will know that. And then on the main screen here, the bulk of the offer, the member is going to see what we like to call a term extension dial. You can move this dial between a min of 12 months in this case and a max of 24, and anywhere in between. As I'm moving that dial back and forth, you can see the payment is going up and down, and they get to choose what they're comfortable with. One thing that's really unique is that every single offer is different. They're not all going to have the same min and the max. Another side to that is, I think Austin mentioned it, is having that customization and that feel that you're sending me an offer that is mine, right? And data helps us do that. And that's clearly portrayed here in this particular offer and for all the offers that the members get here. Some may say a min of 8 and a max of 18 and so on and so forth. I'm going to put on 18 months, which is the average extension. There are rate tables behind the solution that you have full control of 24/7. So let's say rates are changing when there's a live campaign out there. You can go into our system, quickly change it easily, and it will reflect an appropriate rate on all of the real-time offers out there. If you also notice, if I put it to that longer term, that rate goes up. So that's that rate table taken into effect there. Monthly payment is dropping to $179 a month. I like that. I click extend term, verify my email address, click continue. It's going to funnel them into a e-signing portion of the process. In this case, you're going to be seeing DocuSign, but we have other e-sign providers to do this particular solution or part of the solution. They will see a simple modification agreement that they will electronically sign. Gap disclosure here. Gap will not go over into the extended term, but will continue to the maturity, but you always have the ability to purchase more gap, which is always nice. So what happened on the back end side of this offer that I'll talk to really quickly is we have connections into some of the major cores out there in the marketplace. We can actually allow and take that the data, those 3 change fields, and funnel that back into where those auto loans reside automatically with no human interaction. Okay. And if you use Scimitar, we actually have a lot of IT resources, and we can provide the querying scripts to you for free, which is also nice as well. Hoping to do that with more cores soon to be. So on the next side here, what I want to show you from an experience perspective is exactly what we've been able to accomplish with these Mirror members becoming sincere members, and that is then sending them a pre-approval credit card offer. Now, the green ones here, and I'll take this moment to explain the difference between the bright green and the create offers buttons down here below. What is typically been done out there in the marketplace with pre-approved offers, and what's used on our platform currently, is you would take the members that you've found are more likely to open up a credit card or a personal loan or an auto loan, right? And based off that data, you will run them through a pre-screen engine at the credit bureau with your parameters, and it will give you those pre-approval data points needed to issue the cards or the personal loans or the offers out to those members that have been pre-approved. Now, let's say you did it for 15,000 members, right? You purchased 15,000, and let's say 2,000 of them went into the offer, and 1,500 have accepted it, so on and so forth. Well, that other 12,000 that didn't access the offer really weren't looking for a card. And our hopes and the reason with our connection with OnApproach is that those numbers would be improved, right? You get it to the folks that would really want it. But what we've seen on current practices is you introduce the Reset Auto, you then introduce the pre-approval credit card product next, and they'll go through that process now. They will see the ability to access the offer, which is going to authenticate them here, what they might be going through on that left-hand screen there. Now, quick marketing statistics here of all the folks that have entered into this part of the offer that have seen the credit card limit. We've been tracking that 73% will open up that new card, and 15%, between 12 to 15%, will do a balance transfer over to this new card that's being opened up. Yes, those stats have been primarily driven by offers going to Mirror members. So pretty exciting there as well. Again, that choice and comfortability of choosing the credit card limit that I'm most comfortable with in a case of a minimum of $1,000 here and a max of $12,000. Let's say I really only want a credit card for $11,500. I click continue. If you have more than one card that you offer to your membership base, first one shown here is a rewards card, but you can also do comparisons. So you can put another card in here, and if I slide the dial beneath that card, it'll take me to the next one that shows a lower rate but no rewards. Every card that I have has rewards associated with it, so it's always the one I choose in this case. And let's say I like the rewards card. I click I like this card. We have the education on doing a balance transfer for the main reason because they can do it when they open up this card. And we want to make sure that the members are educated on the benefits of doing something like this. And it is by far one of the most popular features of doing pre-approval credit card campaigns with our solution. I confirm my email address there. If I want to do the balance transfer, which we've seen folks do as many as 5 transfers over to a new card, I will click that button and it'll bring me to the fields necessary to complete the transfer. So name on the card, account number, let's say I'm gonna pay off $4,000, interest rate 21% if you want to collect that. I'm gonna pay off those Chase creditors. It'll auto-populate the creditor information there. Click save. Balance transfer saves here down below. Again, they can keep doing as many transfers as they want as long as they don't go over that $12,500 credit limit that you've given to them. Another neat feature and enhancement that we actually just made the other week was if someone from a branch helped a member go through this transaction, they will now get credit for it. So from a selling and I guess an incentive standpoint on getting your MSRs or representatives to push the product that you have put out there for your members to accept, this has been a great way to do so. So let's say, yes, I was on the phone with a branch person that made me aware of this offer, so on and so forth, for example purposes. And let's say it was the peanut butter branch. I guess that was a funny joke by some of the developers there. And so I talked to someone at the peanut butter branch. And so again, giving that credit to where it's due, which is really nice from a credit union rep standpoint. I click continue. What they're going to see on the final end of this transaction are the disclosures. So any account opening forms that need to be electronically signed will be signed and viewed by the members here. They will start the e-signature process. They will also sign a balance transfer request form right here. Click finish. And we've done integrations into LOS systems to make this also fully automated, where we will funnel that back into the LOS as a new application ready to be processed. I'm going to throw something out here that actually is really in testing phase right now. It's not live. What you just saw, that product is live and we've had incredible success. But what's interesting is, yes, it's awesome to have the balance transfer benefits of bringing new balances over to this new card, or existing balances over to this new card. But then you have the manual process of processing those transfers at the credit union level. We actually now have the capability for members to print their own balance transfer checks and do that part of the process for you. So if I clicked on that and I wanted to print my own balance transfer check, or either do it digitally, I can see the check. Look, all right, I did that Chase transfer. $4,000 is what I need to pay off that creditor. It's funny, it says it's not a live check. I know I've actually asked, can I print this and take this and cash it? But if I click the word print here, I can print it and then mail it off. So I just wanted to show that to you all here. The folks on this call are the first ones I've demoed it to, that balance transfer check printing capability. So anyone who's on this call, love to get your insight on it and your thoughts on it. But we thought it was pretty cool, so we wanted to add it into the experience here. So coming back to the home screen here, I did say I wanted to mention the difference between the My Pre-Approved offers in green and the Create Offers buttons down here below. In typical presentations that I do for our one-on-one credit union discussions that are interested in the platform, I bring up a slide that shows FinTechs like SoFi, Lending Club, Prosper, and I do that for a very important reason. Those FinTechs have created something out there in the marketplace that is doing fairly well. We've seen the articles, we've seen the success, billions of dollars produced or originated in personal loans, things of that nature. And what happens when you access one of those FinTech sites as a consumer and you see the buttons, get your rate, or click here to check your rate, what's happening when a consumer does that behind the scenes is they will click that button, they will put in the necessary fields to run what's called a pre-screen engine at the credit bureau level. And so it will run that person through that credit bureau level pre-screen. and show them the real-time offer then and there of what they qualify for. And if they like it, they'll e-sign it and finish up the process. The create offers buttons right here do that exact same thing. So let's say, instead of doing the bulk pre-approval credit card offers or kind of one-offs, or like Austin mentioned that you do it in March or something, that's the most likelihood, but you want to have it live 24/7, you can create a credit card offer for yourself as a member. And here's the beautiful part, and where you all have a leg up on these fintechs. The data that I'm putting in here, you already have it, right? And if your users of OnApproach are looking at OnApproach, this data can be combed through and simplified with them, and actually can be pre-populated into these fields so that they don't even have to enter it in. So you're already a better experience than those fintechs that are doing so well out there in the marketplace, just with that alone, because of that data. And so if I click continue here for this particular credit card offer that I'm creating for myself, it's now changed into a pre-screen of 1. You're now only paying for that pre-screen hit on the credit bureau, your credit bureau that you use for your pre-approval data, of the folks that are most likely to use and open up those cards or auto loans or personal loans. So that's kind of the tidbit I wanted to just mention here at the end, after going through the mere member to sincere member explanation of Reset Auto and pre-approval credit card, and how our solution is kind of cutting edge out there in the marketplace on producing a more efficient manner of growing those particular portfolios with the Create Offers tab and that pre-screen of 1 feature. So as you can see here on the Knock Knock platform, there are obviously other options and products that you have available to use with your members. But again, for today's purposes and webinar discussions, we really just wanted to hone in on one use case and the success behind it and show you all that here today. But obviously, please reach out to either of us, any of us, if you want to see more, and as well as some of the other items Austin was mentioning, like the data lake and things of that nature. So with that, I think we do have some time left over here. Austin, were there any remarks that you wanted to kind of add here before I guess we jump into questions, if we have time?
Yeah, I wanted to add in one thing, and then we'll get into the questions there. So just, where we see ourselves fitting into this mix is really on defining the right offers. So as Foster mentioned, it's not going to be as many offers as you're seeing on the screen right now, but the more data you have at a greater granularity, the better we can make those predictions of what the right offers are to put out there. So RateReset and Knock Knock can work alone without OnApproach, but enhancing it is really what our goal is. So we're trying to make the best offers, or what are the right offers. We also want to help RateReset get more data than they might have the ability to get to, so that when we get into things like how much of a credit line increase should we be giving, we want to make that very precise and very unique to that one person's transactions, behaviors, and activities. So you can see why we're an open platform, why we made the strategic direction to say, let's build the data piece out, but then let's allow people to come in and develop cool applications that fit in with that data, because we couldn't do all of these things that you're seeing that Foster just showcased here. So we look to RateReset as the experts in that area, but they look to us as the experts in getting good, clean, consistent data. So together, the two offerings really just, they complement each other so nicely, where they need data, they need the right analysis to consume at the right time in the right place, but we need that engine, that fulfillment piece to get out to the members, and that's what RateReset and Knock Knock provide to us in the overall, 360 ecosystem type of environment. So I just wanted to add that in there, and I think, Foster did a great job of showcasing it. Obviously, he already said it too, but we'll open up for questions here quick. But if there's anything else that comes up, I'll be at GAC next week. I know Foster lives in the area. He's in Virginia. So if you guys are looking to meet up with us at that point too, we could definitely do that. So I'm going to open up questions. I'm looking at what we have here. So we do have one question from the audience. So let me just read it quick. Is the integration to pre-screen a member integrated member integrated with your platform made available from Knock Knock platform, or is there a custom development required? Did you catch that, Foster?
So if I'm hearing it correctly, and I may need you to read it one more time, what I'm hearing is if it can be separated, or
yeah,
read it one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, the question is, when we do the pre-screening of a member to determine, what offer they should be getting, is that part of your offering, or is that a custom development, or is it all part of the offering?
Oh, so if you're pre-screening a member for opening up a credit card or something, and doing the credit bureau pull is what they're referencing.
Yeah. So your decisioning engine, how do you get those offers, and then how do you determine who to go to, and then when you go to it, is that all packaged together into one offering?
Yeah. Yes. So in that case, yeah, it is. And what we do is and then on the decisioning engine side, we tie into the decisioning engines at TransUnion, Experian, Equifax, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, where we fit into the mix as well. So if you're a rate reset client but not an OnApproach client, they have their own processes to get there. But if you're both, we can actually work on defining what those business rules are and make them very specific to you guys. So when there's an output for that offer, we just automatically feed that, given the business logic, to RateReset, who then puts it into Knock Knock and allows that fulfillment piece to take place. So like I said, you can buy RateReset without OnApproach, but with the two combined, it has a lot of complementary benefits.
Yes, and I would say we have a few mutual clients that do just that, and OnApproach has helped them with that creation side of the parameters and such from the data perspective, and the connection into Knock Knock as well.
All right, and then for everybody else on the phone right now, if you do have any questions, please write them into the questions section. So you should be able to click on that and then write it into the text there. And I'll be able to look at those. But Foster, I do have one other question. So in terms of this goes kind of along with that first question, I think. But in terms of the IT lift here, how much effort does it take for the credit union to get that that data ready for you? And I guess maybe answer it one of two ways: without OnApproach, obviously, you have the experience there, and then maybe with the OnApproach collaborative platform too.
Yeah, that was perfect. So I was just going to say, with us paired together, it is so minimal. I mean, obviously, Austin can talk to that, probably more detail than I can, because I'm not as privy to those developer questions at the beginning of the kickoff strategy of it, but I know enough to be dangerous. And so, yeah, paired with OnApproach, you can imagine that they're going to be doing a lot of the work of creating the querying scripts and tapped into those cores and LOSs that you use to pull the data from, and then simultaneously we work through them with you on the best practices of who should be eligible from a lending perspective and things like that. So yeah, it's and obviously the reason for today's webinar, it's extremely useful to have both systems together here from an IT perspective. Now, let's say, for instance, that, yeah, you wanted one or the other. In this case, you wanted just the CU RateReset platform, Knock Knock. So if you use, for instance, I think I briefly mentioned Scimitar. We have a IT CUSO out in Washington State where we've partnered with them to basically be our IT arm at the credit union level. So they're actually a credit union themselves. And when we started working with them, we were just blown away with how quickly they wrote the scripts on pulling the data from the core on who should be eligible for receiving a reset offer. And then they were even the first credit union of ours to write a internal script of when the offer is accepted, they actually allow their members to take out cash out on Reset Auto and Reset Personal Loan. And when they do that, that cash out amount is then automatically funded into the member's account. And that CUSO and that credit union wrote that script, and now they're willing to share it. So we've partnered on that respect. And so the Reset products from the Scimitar Core integration side, just looking at RateReset, we can provide a lot of that IT resource for you, which is really nice. We've done integrations from an LOS side into MeridianLink and Lending 360 and Keystone or Correlation and CU Prodigy as well. So we're fully connected to all of those and have done things there. But at the end of the day, we try to make it so that a lot of the heavy lifting is on us. We'll be with you every step of the way on figuring it out, on how it will work with your credit union and your system. And there's been no core or LOS that we haven't been able to connect to yet.
And Foster, this is a follow-up question. It might be one for your developers, but the question is, do you guys use SimExchange for that integration? So when you're connecting to Scimitar, is it the SimExchange extract utility basically that you guys are using to get there?
So that I actually do know. I just learned that a few months ago. It is, yeah. So we do use that SimExchange, and that is how that querying script is operating, and that is part of the process. Now, any deeper, I have no idea.
I think that's places. All right. Well, I think we got some good questions in there. So any other questions, if you have them, just shoot them up into the question box. Otherwise, just look in here. Foster, is there anything else that you wanted to ensure that we covered today that we did not cover kind of through the scripted presentation here?
It was great to show everyone on creating the mere members to sincere members. That was the bulk of the conversation I wanted to have because of the success that we've had behind it. And then obviously the conversations about pinpointing the right members for the right offers from the OnApproach side. You can easily just see how these two platforms work so well together. And that's what makes these conversations and these discussions so much fun to have, and why I was very much looking forward to this webinar, and want to thank everyone for being able to join here today to see the connection between each CUSO here. And I hope you all are just as excited as we are to hopefully carry on these future conversations. And if you have any additional questions after, or ones that your team brings up, or want to have individual demonstrations, we'd be happy to do so at any time for you. As Austin mentioned, we'll both be at GAC coming up here next week, and hope to see you there.
All right, thanks, Foster. Yeah, so it looks like we got about 10 minutes before our scheduled end, so we'll give you guys all back 10 minutes for your day for other productive activity. But as Foster mentioned, please feel free to reach out to us at any time if you have any questions on Knock Knock, RateReset, OnApproach, or both. You can direct those towards either Foster or myself, or however you got this email to set it up. I believe that would be been through Mark Ports. He knows how to get a hold of both of us as well. So with that, we thank you all, and we will close out the webinar here, but hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.